I failed the mission, and they told me I would have to do it over again. And so they were getting upset with me, failing and everything like that, and they told me that they took Zandre off the pill, and they were having this guy, which Zandre told me his name was Dan O'Hare. Zandre would have sex with him, unprotected sex, and she got pregnant. And so she told me that she was pregnant after, a couple weeks later. And at one point they told me they would have me get an abortion, or they would get an abortion for me if she would, if I would run again or something like that. And at one point they negotiated to, if I would not go see the movie Avatar. And I went and I saw Avatar anyway. And they decided not to get an abortion for her. And they did not like the fact that I'm basically, independent-minded. I don't like being ordered around and stuff like that. So they weren't happy with my decision, and so I also ended up in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital, I think, 4 times in that time period, and this was December 2009, January 2010, and the last time I ended up in the hospital was at Northwestern, and they wanted me to do absurd things like masturbate in public and punch the nurses and stuff like that. And I didn't want to do any of that stuff, and so they got upset with me, and they messed around with my heart and everything like that. And plus I would swear at them too. In my mind, I would swear back at them, and I would the guy who was in charge of the thing, he was a colonel. I would go Colonel Schmernel, in my head, and this sort of stuff would get them upset. And what happened was sort of stuff would get them upset, and what happened was there was one night where they told me not to eat anything, and I made it all the way through, but I was swearing at them in my head, and they told me at the end of that time period that if I swear anymore, they would take Zandre away from me, and assign her to another person or something like that. And what happened was I swore, and it happened, and they told me I had to do 250 push-ups before 10 o'clock, and I started doing the 250 push-ups, and I didn't make it. So they decided I had to do 700 push-ups, or 750, I'm not sure, 700 or 750, before the end of midnight. And I made it to 750, but they said I had to recount one set of 50 because I didn't do it right. And I had made it to 717, and at that point I utterly collapsed and I went to bed. And at the time, in the 24-hour period, they woke me up and Zandre was crying that that they were going to take her away from me. And I basically they gave me they told me, would you do it if like if your life depended on it. And they they slow down my heart and everything like that. And what happened was my heart was slowed, and I got scared, and so I went to the nursing staff to ask for clonazepam, and I got the clonazepam, and I asked them for a Haldol shot, and they decided to let me go after taking the Haldol shot. And so they didn't speak to me after after getting the Haldol shot. And basically, after I got out of the hospital, they asked me if I were game again, and I decided to say that not until after I graduated from college, which they interpreted to mean that I wasn't going to be game anymore. And so I was put on Haldol and everything like that. And I made it through college, and I finally graduated in 2010. And they took Zandre out of my life and everything like that, and that stuff, and I was switched over from Haldol to Fanapt, and haven't experienced any gang stalking symptoms since then, and no voices in my head. But the thing is, there's no when I was thinking about doing this video again, well, I had originally done a video on this subject, and I looked around my place and I found that I was missing. So I decided to do this one over again. And you know how it is, you find things missing when you're under gang stalking. And when I was thinking about doing this over again, there were a couple cars missing headlights and stuff like that outside. So I don't know, by doing this video, that I'll get gang stalking again and that sort of stuff. But I hope not, But that's basically my story, and I hope that I don't get the gang stalking anymore. But I want to do this video mainly because I miss talking in my head to Zandre and that stuff, and I miss having her around and that stuff. So that's why part of the reasons why I did this video. So that's that.